Redditors with real-life butterfly effect stories. What happened and what was the series of events and outcomes? I was going out to grab pizza and a case of beer for me and my roommate, but he texted me that he had a stomach thing, so I walked to a restaurant and ordered dinner at the bar and met a girl there. Now we are married and have 2 kids because my roommate had diarrhea. Well, longer version. I was just out of high school and new in town with no job. I was living off of what savings I had left, and my account went below zero without me knowing. I was overdraft charged like 10 times and owed 300 plus. I went down to the bank, spoke with the teller, and she ended up being a lifesaver. She worked with me and got all the charges removed. On top of getting the charges removed, we got to talking about my situation, and she said that her son worked at a local restaurant and she would help me get a job. She was a woman of her word, and by the end of the week, I was working full time. Fast forward, I met a cool dude who worked there. We became friends. I introduced him to my sister. They fell in love. They got married and had 2 kids. His best friend came into town for the wedding, and I introduced him to my roommate at the time. They fell in love, got married, and had 2 babies. I also got my best friend a job at the restaurant where he met a girl working there. They fell in love, got married, and had a kid. Right before I left, I got my roommate a job at the restaurant where he met a customer, fell in love, got married, and had a kid. As a bonus, my best friend, who I helped get the job, repaid the favor, got me a job at a different restaurant where I met a girl, fell in love, and got married. Pregnant cousin usually takes the bus at around 5:10 p.m. after work. She's about to hop inside the bus, but she needed to pee really badly, and the commute was about an hour long, so she decided to go to the restroom instead and just catch the next bus. That 5:10 bus ended up falling from a cliff. I was walking to school and got distracted by a hedgehog that ran in a bush next to me, then a big-ass tree branch fell in front of me. Would have crushed me if I didn't get distracted by a spiky little mouse scurrying in the bushes. I gave him a dead cricket the next day. He took it and ran off. Godspeed, Spiky Mouse. Received an incredibly high-paying job offer to run our biggest competitor's team. Told my boss, even though I love my job, but it was more than double what I was making. Boss agreed to a reasonable raise, still not near the offer. I decided to stay because I genuinely love my team and coworkers. The money wasn't enough to leave that happy place. In exchange, I had to take on another account. That meant a business trip I didn't have in the plans. Went on that trip and met my future husband. A couple years later, went on our honeymoon at a resort in St. Lucia. Ran into someone I knew from home/work. Turns out, the team that I'd been given the job offer for had made so much money that they had booked the same resort to celebrate. I sat there and went, wow. Life is nuts. Would have ended up there either way. I procrastinated one day in high school by watching a foreign musical on YouTube. I ended up trying to learn the lyrics and eventually the language. That led me to discovering the field of linguistics, to which I'm now majoring in. I don't know what I'd be doing now had I actually started doing my homework that day instead. If my biological mom hadn't asked her parents to watch me for a couple hours and then left town, I wouldn't have had the incredible and privileged life that I was given through adoption. My younger half-brothers were raised by our biological mom, and they are a total freaking mess. I'm more of a mom to them than their actual mom, and I would have been an absolute wreck if she kept me. Instead, I was given an amazing private education, all the sports and musical adventures, and most important, a healthy, loving home with 2 parents who taught me that just because you share blood doesn't mean you love. And just because you didn't give birth to a child doesn't mean you can't be their parent. When I was 18, I had a girlfriend, and her older brother owned a small company. He said to me, I think you'd be pretty good at this job. I'm 34 now, and have a legitimate career that I love because I dated a girl for a bit. I also had a cat for the better part of that time period because of the girlfriend. I'm a cat person now. Nearly every single friend I have in college is because one day in my general education health class, we had to pick a seat that would become our seat for the semester. When I came in, there weren't many seats left, and the people I sat next to ended up becoming my best friends and introduced me to all of my other friends in one way or another. Grew up speaking Spanish, so in high school, my mom made me sign up for French. I didn't really care, but figured whatever, at least it's something new. I was a good kid, bit of a cut up with absolutely zero direction. In that class, I met a girl and we sort of became friends. She got sick that year, cancer. It was horrible. Visited her in the hospital, got close to her family, still am. She passed away the following year. French, it turns out, was her favorite subject, and her dream had been to study abroad. Her parents asked if we, her friends from that class, could do that for her. The years went on. I worked every summer, tried to save up to study abroad. I noticed the others who had made the promise weren't making moves towards it, so I worked even harder. Finally went for a semester my third year. TBF, I always enjoyed French, but it wasn't a passion. Except that semester, something kind of shifted. Came home, finished undergrad, then got into a master's in French. The whole time, my friend's mom was excited, feeling like my friend is somehow vicariously living through me. I graduated from my master's, then moved back to France. Been here 3 years now, and May 1st was the 11th anniversary of my friend's death. As I type it out, it's not so outwardly obvious, but the entire time it's been so clear for me that she's been with me on this journey. My coworker has a big ego and thinks she knows best. We had a patient who received home visits. He had a medical condition that, if observed by a newcomer, might cause alarm, but we were very much informed about it and familiar with it. Instructions were that the condition was normal for him, not a concern in itself. One day, the patient's wife and my coworker seemed to have some kind of power struggle or disagreement about his condition and treatment, and the coworker ended up calling an ambulance for his long-term unchanged condition that we were very familiar with. He was taken to a hospital, and while there, caught an infection. This infection impacted his eating. He lost a lot of weight fast. His condition deteriorated over the next few months, and he passed away. Honestly, it wasn't unexpected that he might pass, but it seems the specific scenario ended up happening and stemmed from that unnecessary hospital visit. Almost everything that has happened in my life for the past 8 years is a direct result of me literally flipping a coin to decide between two colleges. I play the sport I do, have the friends I do, am dating the person I am, and very nearly every other aspect of my life is because a nickel landed on heads. At the end of 6th grade, my class took a field trip on a whale watch. That night, I saw a commercial for a documentary TV series on whales. Ever since that day, I wanted to grow up and protect whales from being hunted. Today, I work in the military specializing in marine preservation. This happened 2 days ago. It was early in the morning, and as I'm about to leave for work, when my mom reminded me that I forgot my water bottle on the table while I was walking out. For whatever reason, I decided to go leave my backpack in the car and then walk back into the house for the water bottle. Well, that took about maybe 10 seconds total. It started to rain heavily on my way to work and couldn't see very well, but I noticed the brake lights of the car ahead stopping suddenly and some moving off onto the shoulder, and decided to slow down and put the hazard lights on for the people behind to slow down. Well, it turns out everyone was braking because a 4 to 5 car accident had just happened seconds before. All the cars were scattered across a highway, spread across the left, right shoulders, and another to hit the crash barrier. Basically, a total bad mess. The drivers were still in their cars, I guess, processing what had just happened. After seeing it, I immediately started to think that if I hadn't gone back for the water bottle, there's a chance that I could have easily been in the accident, or at least even closer to it. It tripped me out for the rest of the day. Got arrested for growing weed, moved back home, got first job I could at IKEA. After working there for over a year, randomly decided to check Craigslist for jobs and saw an opening at a cafe. They were hiring right then, so instinctively went for it. The cafe was connected and owned by one of the most popular brew pubs / beer gardens in the area. They hired me to host there. I quickly worked my way up the ranks to eventually bar manager. Met the girl of my dreams. We're now married with 2 amazing kids. Opened 2 more restaurants with them and currently assistant director of operations, overseeing 3 restaurants at 3, 5, and 8 million a year in sales. Love my job, love my family, love my life. No idea what I'd be doing if I never got arrested or never applied for the cafe job. Hope you enjoyed that video. Feel free to like, comment, share. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on those post notifications for all my future uploads. Here's 2 other videos you might enjoy.